Hey everybody, did you know if you go to colinmullen.com you can get some prints of some spooky looking art? Like, you can buy art off that website. And if you want, you can always contact me, and then if the originals are still around, I can sell you those too, I guess. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure that out. But send me an email, hit me up, go to colinmullen.com. So before I talk about today's subject matter, I do want to talk about a couple things first. So first off, this is a painting from a game called Witch Hunt. It's a small indie title. I believe it's made by one guy, and I think it's about $20 on Steam right now. It's a little bit janky around the edges, but I'll tell you, like, it's very endearing. Like, clearly whoever was making this was not making this as a cheap like Unity asset flip, whatever, I don't care, I just want some money from some idiot sort of thing. Like, this is a game where, yeah, it's not perfect, but the guy truly, clearly does love what he's doing, and he's making an interesting game about hunting werewolves and witches and, you know, all sorts of spooky stuff. It makes for a great Halloween stream. But yeah, it's a decent game. Maybe, you know, watch a couple streams of mine of it first before you give it a buy, just because it is a little bit weird around the edges, but it's good. And it's fitting because, you know, about a year ago, I ended up uploading the first video to this channel, and it was of the church from Pachinki. So it's a church, and, you know, obviously today's subject matter is going to be a horror story. So it's like the first two videos of the channel, but again, and different, remixed. Yeah. Anyway. So, as I discussed last year, a majority of the investigations that I went on while I was a ghost hunter were fairly mundane. There's honestly a lot of times where we go to a place, someone goes, "My house is haunted," and then it's just absolutely not, and nothing's happening, and it's really boring, and you just kind of hang out in someone else's house for like a couple hours, and then you leave, and then they go, "Well, what was it? It's haunted, right?" And you go, "Well, you know, we'll check and see what we have on the recordings, but no, it's not haunted, dude." And then they get upset and they don't call again. This was not one of those occasions, necessarily. The story has a little bit of everything, and it's a little bit out there, and it's not going to end the way you think it is. A woman had called explaining that she believed that she had been cursed by her ex-boyfriend husband. I don't remember the exact relation between the two, but the long and short of it was that this woman believed that he had left her and had gone immediately to go see some sort of voodoo priest in order to curse her. She also believed that he had some sort of dealings with Santa Muerte, which is a non-canon saint of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has actually gone out and actively condemned Santa Muerte, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and please forgive me if I'm not. But generally speaking, the idea behind her, this saint, is that she is the patron saint of just kind of disenfranchised or people in dangerous jobs, taxi drivers, drug dealers, that sort of deal. It's kind of a weird mishmash of people that this person supposedly protects. That's how saints usually work. Usually they have a sphere of influence that they sort of protect all the people from such and such sort of category, or all the animals of such and such category. Santa Muerte is the people who have dangerous or whatever kind of jobs like that, or people who are in typically very dangerous situations, and is sometimes seen as vengeful, and you can, you know, make a deal with her in order to get things done. Apparently, according to this person's testimony, the person that we were helping, that her ex had gone to some sort of voodoo priest in order to get Santa Muerte to do something awful to her, and now she's cursed. If you know anything about the occult, if you know anything about that sort of stuff, there's a couple like red flags that go off along the way there, but, you know, whatever. Especially at this time, I was very skeptical of anything along those lines. So, the whole concept to me just seemed like, whatever, okay, I get to, do some ghost hunting. And as I said before, I just wanted to know, is there anything more to this world than just the physical, material, mundane, boring stuff? We set up some EVPs, we set up some audio recordings. They had a little desk thing. I was not aware of what this was when I first saw it. One of the older people in our group informed us that it is actually a telephone nook. Apparently, phones used to be placed in the hallway, and there used to be a little built-into-the-wall shelf for them that allowed you to have access to the phone anywhere in the house. Then, if you needed to take the phone into the bedroom, you could just sort of take it from the wall, and the cord would follow you into the other room. It was very convenient. This was before cell phones and slightly before my time, and now I'm dating myself. Anyway, we had set the recording up onto that so we could kind of get a decent recording spot for the rest of the house. If I can find those files of what we recorded, I will definitely be playing them immediately following this sentence. I'm going to cut the audio for the music. If you don't hear it, like here, let me just play it if I've got it. So if you heard it just there, then cool, I still have it. If you didn't, it got lost somewhere along the lines between when I was switching computers and so on and so forth. Generally speaking, what we believed that to say, and by we, I mean all the other people that are in the ghost hunting group that I was in, believed that it said cop. I'm not sure as if I really believe that those audio recordings actually work, but I'm not any sort of technical genius, but I think there's probably a much more mundane reason on why that happens. I'd imagine it's something along the lines of the same reason that when you look at certain things, you can see faces in them. In a similar sort of vein, I expect that we hear words that we think are real because they somehow relate to us on some sort of psychological level. I don't really get it, but it's something probably like that. That's my guess. I don't think that that's a way that ghosts could reliably communicate with us, because that doesn't make any sense. And this coming from someone who believes in ghosts. So, anyway, before we had gotten that recording, before we had gotten that set up, one of the main things that we do as ghost hunters is to go check out the mundane first. As I said in the last ghost hunting video from about a year ago, one of the things that you notice a lot with ghost hunting is people who believe that they have ghosts actually have rats or mice or some other sort of critter that's running around in the walls. It explains a lot of things. The electricity doesn't work quite right. There's banging at night. There's things missing, that kind of thing. And people don't want to admit to the fact that they've got rats. Like that just makes you seem like you're some unkempt, horrible person when rats just sort of show up wherever they feel like, and that doesn't mean anything. But people don't want to believe they have rats, and people want to believe that they're the next Amityville horror for some reason. People want to believe that they're haunted. So in these routine checks, what we do is we check the places where you normally expect to see rats, cupboards, closets, floorboards, spots where you would expect to find rats, mice, that sort of thing. And on one of these searches in one of the closets, in their coat closet, which was primarily empty, we ended up finding some sort of substance. Now, I was with the person who found it when we found it. It was a small sort of tannish thing, smaller than a dime. Can't really describe its shape, sort of just pill-shaped but smaller. And the person goes, oh, it's just some ramen, and then promptly eats it, which was bizarre to say the least, because that's not how science or just rational people act. I don't treat myself as a very scientific person. I'm an artist by trade, but that seems like a very bizarre thing to do when you just discover something, you decide to eat it. It just seems like a weird behavior. Fortunately enough, there were some more, so I picked them up with, some gloves and put them into a, sealed plastic baggie, because I was weird like that. If I'm going to be doing something, I do it professionally. So bringing it back home and busting out my, little microscope that I had as a kid and doing some research online, I ended up finding out something a little bit more Lovecraftian, if you want to say that. So here's an interesting fact about lizards. They don't pee liquid, apparently. At least as far as I was able to read up on the internet. Correct me if I'm wrong. They pee as far as like solid chunks of urine. Looks a bit like a crumb of ramen. I'm just saying, not all horror stories that come from ghost hunting are ghosts and demons and such. Sometimes it's something much more mundane, like watching someone eat piss. Anyway, this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to thank all the people who help and support me on Patreon. If you want to be one of those people, go to patreon.com/RevScarecrow. Anything over the $5 amount, I will say your name as best as I can read it and as best as I can butcher it, starting sort of randomly. And yeah, so let me give some shout outs and some thank yous to the following people. Thank you, Watfu. Thank you, Tilda. Thank you, Theodore Corbier. Thank you, Plex. Thank you, Flenixia Theoran. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, Mafa7. Thank you, Lost Nevada. Thank you, James at Games. Thank you, Jack Sakinen. Thank you, Geizazan. Thank you, Ethan Frack. Thank you, Duxu. Thank you, Bubba Fair. Thank you, Andy. And thank you, Amber. You guys are the heartblood of this channel. You and anyone who comes by and watches these videos and shares them and all that other crap that YouTube tells me to tell people to do. Honestly, YouTube has been just absolute chaos beast this year. And just having the support of people going, I really like your channel. Like the occasional email or tweet or message on Tumblr or whatever that just goes, hey, Rev, I really like your content and I'm glad you're making it. It makes my day better. That's so much better than anything else that I can get. Because, I don't know, it's really hard to explain that position, but my life is better because I know that I'm doing something nice to people, I was going to say, but that's, I don't think, the wrong grammar, but and that's kind of something that I've always wanted to do, but now I'm just rambling. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and give me a subscribe. If you didn't enjoy this, then 13 minutes or so of your life was wasted, and I apologize for that. You have a good one. I'll see you next time, unless if you didn't enjoy this. Goodbye.